All right. Welcome to Is Anybody Listening to Me podcast with Azar and the Meat. Once again, we have our special guest Jarvis joining us this afternoon.
What up?
And this is our super special fantasy edition Jackass nomination. We just did our fantasy draft. And Big Meat is going to, for the first time, actually release his Jackass picks through the podcast. No longer through email or posting it on our fantasy portal. It's now going to be released. So all the world can hear the jackasses and the bad picks that were drafted over the past weekend. Welcome, Big Meat. This is my favorite thing to look forward to is your Jackass competition. So
Mine too. This is an 18-year tradition here coming to an end, and we're starting a new tradition with our Jackass nominations picks on this podcast. We're gonna screw the drink of the month. We're going to screw the nerd review of sci-fi flicks today. I don't want to hear about how terrible a job Jarvis did with the Seago golf tournament. I just want to get right into fantasy football. That's what I want to do. Let's get into the Jackass picks.
I can feel the piss and vinegar right out of him. And for the folks, just to help you understand, Jarvis gave him a big challenge this year. He said he lost his fastball with his Jackass picks. So Meat has to redeem himself.
Mm-hmm.
So the stage
can you give us a little history of what the Jackass picks are, just for the new listeners?
So the Jackass picks is, in a strange way, is Big Meat's interpretation of who he thinks made the worst pick in the draft. So they're in our league at least 10 individuals, and he goes through the draft very thoroughly, and he provides an essay form why your pick and where you picked them was a terrible pick at that point. And Big Meat does it with a lot of creativity. And by the end of the nominations that he makes, he will give you his ultimate Jackass pick, which usually leads into a firestorm for at least 2 weeks before the season start of people screaming and swearing at him. Because he never actually includes himself in any of the Jackass picks. So it takes everybody else on the team to basically decimate Big Meat's team. So it's like a tradition. It's like that we look forward to. It's like Christmas. You do your draft, and a day or two later, you open up your computer, and there's Big Meat's Jackass.
And Azar, it's not intentional that I leave myself out. Every year I try to look for a pick in the draft that I did, and 19 years counting, I still haven't found one pick in my draft that I would consider a Jackass pick. So
and amazing
I've
that
tried.
This is the guy who, once again, drafted Devontae Freeman with such confidence last year. And then I want to go back to the records.
And then traded him. 1 weekend
For Antonio Brown.
Yes. And my luck, of course, that night, not the next day, that night, Antonio Brown, the story comes out about him raping somebody. Like, what the hell? Anyway, so yes. So again, and just to clarify that on the nominations, it's not players who are not good. It's not like somebody's drafting Sony Michel, in the halfway through the draft. I'm talking about a player that was taken a few rounds too early, and we never pick players that were taken at the end of the draft. These are always players that were taken within the first 5 rounds. So yeah, you're not gonna see any kickers on my list here.
So Azar, the reason he cut it off at number 5 is because he took Brady in round 6.
Oh, you mean the player that you guys thought was a top 3 quarterback?
No, finish as a top 3. No, I said top 3. Actually,
yes,
no one actually said that. No one actually
you
said
did.
That.
Yeah, check the tape.
Top 5 potential. Top 5
check the tape. Yeah, and he was the 8th quarterback taken.
Well, it's a high risk. I love that you're using. So for the record, people, just to let you know, we are borrowing someone's Zoom account, so we don't have to stop 40 minutes in and have to restitch and lose one of the guests.
Yeah.
Lose our guest or even lose our host.
So I have to apologize for that. What happened is you guys sent me the password to a text, and when we got kicked out, my phone died. So I couldn't go back in to log back on. So I went to plug my phone in and fell asleep.
Shows his priorities, folks. That's his commitment to the podcast.
Hey, it's a long journey to Middle Earth. You get tired at night.
All right. Well, Big Meat, I'm going to let you go guns blazing in a second, but I do want to give just a comment, because Big Meat's been talking about this, I think, since we started the podcast. Cobra Kai came out onto Netflix, and Big Meat has been hyping it, and now it's on a platform that, 90% of the population has that can actually enjoy it. Worth every minute to watch that. That is, if you have time to sit down, that is probably one of the better shows that I've actually binged so far.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it's so well done, and the fact that it's got that retro 80s feel to it, it's just an exciting thing. And definitely in the next podcast, we have to talk about it in the upcoming new season. And
did you watch both seasons?
No, I'm in halfway through the first, and we were just kept on going. If it wasn't getting so late and I didn't have early meetings the next day, I would have actually kept on going. But I actually had to shut it down by 11:30. I was like,
Johnny Lawrence is one of the best characters in television show history.
Yeah,
on that show, it's just he's just the best.
Yeah,
he's the best on that show.
I love the 80s music
and that's what it is. The music, they bring back a lot of the music from the Karate Kid movies, which is kind of neat.
Yeah,
that's good.
It's well done. But I don't want to. It's not a Cobra Kai episode. We'll say that for the next podcast. Big Meat.
Yes.
Floor is yours.
Here we go. So I'm gonna throw out a little caveat here to everybody. I typically don't swear a lot on these podcasts. I try to keep them a little bit kid friendly, but I'm going all out. I'm not holding back. I got an empty house here. Well, I got my son here, but I told him to leave the room, lock himself in his room, don't come out, put his headphones on, because I don't want him to hear me going off with F-bomb after F-bomb. So if your kids are listening, maybe you might want to, turn down the volume here if you are listening. So, and of course, and if you do get offended by what I say, screw you. Grow a pair, you soft pansy ass motherfuckers.
All right. So this is why we're starting so early. You don't want to offend the senior citizen neighbors around.
That's right. That's right. Our quiet time is ending in half hour, so I gotta make these quick.
All right. Get it all in.
All right. I am gonna get it all in. So we're gonna go right from the first pick all the way down to the 10th pick. This year, we'll start off with the raccoon. Right? The raccoon, pork chop, Antifa boy, whoever the fuck was drafting his team this year. I'm going to go round 4, Odell Beckham, pick number 40 overall. When someone says they don't give a shit about this season and they'd prefer to sit out the entire season, that should scream red flag. That's a crock of a pick. And try to cover up his name here. I'm just going to call him Raccoon. Raccoon, you should be ashamed of yourself bringing back Greasy to draft for you. You could at least have hung out with us. Fucking pathetic. OBJ over Calvin Ridley over Tyler Lockett is a travesty. They turned into a run-first team. OBJ has checked out. Mayfield sucks, and it's Cleveland. I know you didn't draft him, but it's all your fault for hiring fucking pork chop, you fuck. At least you got your full of flavor in, you fucking raccoon. So do you guys agree with that pick or not?
I didn't like that pick. It was tough because where it is in the draft, it's the 4th round, but you're right. Where he's picking, he had some more viable options. Like, he wasn't, like, desperate. There were other receivers that had more upside. I
got to expand on this because, John, you're right on, but you have to look at the bigger the frame of their team. They didn't take a running back other than David Montgomery until James White in the 2nd to last round. They legitimately have only McCaffrey and Montgomery. So when you say OBJ is a hot garbage pick, not only did they take OBJ before he got lucky with DJ Moore and Metcalf, but if he got rid of OBJ, he at least would have been able to have Mark Ingram. He would have been able to have even David Johnson, Devin Singletary, Cam Akers, Le'Veon Bell. Now, those aren't the hottest names, but my God, they would have had another running back to start instead of Montgomery, who's got a hamstring injury for the next 4 weeks.
Yeah,
legitimately,
some games.
Legitimately cannot field a team. To drafted a team he cannot field a full roster in.
But you know what does scare me about that team is that they do have CMC and Lamar Jackson. Those two guys. Those two guys alone could carry.
It does not matter. He physically cannot put a running back in his starting lineup to fill out his team for the first 4 weeks.
Right, James White.
That's not really saying. It's not really saying. Might as well just have taken Sony Michel at that point.
No, I know. I don't understand.
You're
It's
really telling me that James White is
no,
going?
no. You say he can't fill the spot, but he has someone to put in there physically. It's just what I don't understand. What did Mac pay for? Because
Mac could have done a better job than this.
Because Mac does the same thing. He drafts the first 3 or 4 picks because he's always in the top 4 because he never makes the playoffs, and then he just falls apart. And when I look at this draft, he fell apart. So it's either Mac took over after the 3rd pick, or Lisi and the raccoon. Sorry, I didn't mean to drop his name. Are basically the same.
No. Yeah, go ahead.
They have the same philosophy when it comes to fantasy football. Like, it's just like I stack up early and then I don't give a shit for the rest of my team. Like, it makes no sense.
Yeah, it was pretty bad after that because, I mean, other than my boy George Kittle, who was the number 1 tight end taken in the draft. Great job on Porkchop's move there. But after that, Odell Beckham, DJ Moore, not a fan. Metcalf, he's okay. Montgomery, Debo Samuel. Like, I mean, it just ends up being garbage.
I don't understand Debo Samuel. Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, it wasn't he going to miss, like, the first part of the season as well to take him that early? So, again, I'm trying to stick with my rules of the first 5 rounds, so I couldn't go that further down. So if I look at Odell Beckham in the 4th round, yeah, this isn't 2016. This is 2020. That's a terrible pick. That's a jackass pick right there. And Raccoon would have done a much better job if he just drafted his own team.
He might be put in a position where he's got to pray like someone like Kirk Cousins has like one of those strong years, just kind of reemerges again. Maybe he could trade Lamar Jackson and get some value pick for it because he's going to have to do something. I think there's going to be
like you did last year, Asa?
Yeah, that backfired on me. So I don't want to talk about that. Let's let that go. I kept the wrong quarterback.
Traded the wrong guy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's continue here because there's other jackasses to be mentioned here.
No shortage of jackasses.
Second on the list here is the Combine Boy,
Mr.
40-yard dash boy, Mr. Combine.
Mr. Combine.
He took Allen Robinson, round 3, pick number 39 overall. Allen fucking Robinson.
So that's incorrect. He took Allen Robinson in the 4th round. He took Mike Evans in the 3rd round.
Wait a minute.
I got to, before your fastball becomes a curveball.
Sorry, guys. He's got to refresh his computer again.
4th round. Yeah, sorry. 39. But I was right on the overall pick. I mistyped it there. So 4th round, 39th overall. So, yes, you're right. Allen Robinson. Lots of targets, right?
4th round is not 39th overall.
Yes, it is. 39th. He's 39th.
All right, let's just not argue about the damn number. Who cares?
Okay, 39th overall. Go ahead.
Yes, I was right. Yes, I didn't lose my fastball. So, anyway, moving on. I can't wait to get to you, Jarvis. So, again, 3rd in the league last year in targets, right? Very heavily targeted guy. Can't do shit with those targets. It's a shitty QB. It's a shitty running backs, shitty offense, and a shitty drafter. And he's injured already. First, he fucks up by not bringing a draft board like he does every year. Then he fucking fucks up drafting this stiff. Then he ends up leaving early and leaving me hanging. Whatever happened to, hey, let's do a weekend draft so we can all hang out and get drunk afterwards? That's bullshit. And Robinson's 40-yard time sucked. Did he forget who he was with that pick? Allen Robinson. He's the only guy on that team that has there's any value from the Chicago Bears. He's the only guy on that team that brings any value. What's he going to end up doing for a 4th round pick? Like I said, same thing with OBJ. There was Calvin Ridley. There was Lockett. There was your boy Robert Woods. Azar, if you wanted to take Robert Woods. Yep. There was other talent there that he could. Even DJ Moore would have been better than Allen Robinson at that spot.
He actually got Ridley with the 42nd pick anyway.
He did on the way around, yeah. But still, I mean, he took Robinson first and then he took Ridley. That just doesn't make sense. But he did load up on those receivers, all back to back to back there. Evans, Robinson, Ridley, Sutton. 4 rounds in a row.
He's got a. I am shocked. That's your jackass pick for the Mr. Combine.
Well, who would have been?
I thought you were going to go after Eckler. I thought that would have been.
No,
I thought the same thing.
No, that would have been weak because Eckler, he got him at the end of the second round, and Eckler's been going, as high as end of the first round in a lot of mock drafts, and then or at the beginning or middle even in the second round. Where he got him there, I think is legit. I think that makes sense.
Don't you think though he passed on someone like Lamar Jackson at that opportunity? Wouldn't it have been?
Yeah,
You got
but
Barkley.
it's Phil. Phil never takes quarterbacks. He never
Mr. Combine to you. Mr. Combine to you.
Mr. Combine. Yeah, I'll have to edit that out. Yeah, Eckler's not a bad pick. I don't like Eckler this year just because of the offense around him, but where he got him there, I mean, they're talking Eckler up like he is going to be the entire offense. He's going to catch a ton of passes. He's probably not going to score a lot of touchdowns because they won't have a lot of those opportunities, but he'll put up numbers. And if you remember last year, before Melvin Gordon came back, he was one of the best running backs in the league. Forget where he was ranked exactly, but he was up there. He was like top 3 after week 4.
Yeah, but that's because he had a quarterback that was happy to just dump it off to him, like just because he's no more.
Rivers has become noodle arm. He's taken over for Peyton Manning and has become Mr. Noodle Arm himself.
Yeah, exactly. So. And he's reemerging with Indianapolis. From what I've been hearing in camp, he's doing the same thing. He's just dumping the ball off to his tight ends and the backfield. So T.Y. Hilton, good luck. Because Noodle Arms is not getting you that ball. So unfortunately for you.
No. All right. So that's my guy there. Hey, Allen Robinson. Let's move on.
All right.
Who's next? COVID boy himself.
COVID boy himself. All right.
COVID boy himself. My pick for him, Mark Ingram. I had to reach a little bit for this one because he did get him in the 5th round. Mark Ingram in the 5th round, pick number 43. He's a guy who's 31 years old, right? They drafted high in J.K. Dobbins, who I actually read today, and not just because I drafted J.K. Dobbins, but I did actually read today that they came out and said that he's going to have a significant role in that offense come week 1. So, and Lamar Jackson runs it in himself when they get close. Plus, the team already came out and they, like I said, they didn't want to give J.K. Dobbins the ball a lot, who they drafted high, and he's been tearing it up in camp. So I think COVID boy might have been feeling the effects of the corona that day of the draft because it's the only explanation for drafting this crappy. Definitely Le'Veon Bell that following round just made it worse. But at least that was the 6th round, okay? And to think I shared a ride with him to get to the draft. God, luckily his COVIDness and his shitty drafting skills didn't rub off on me. So I think I'm good. I don't think I have COVID. But based on how well I drafted, that wasn't contagious. So at least his shitty drafting skills weren't contagious to me. Okay. So there it is.
Okay. So Mark Ingram.
Mark Ingram. Yes. All right.
Yeah. I think you were stretching on that one. But all right, I'll give it to you.
I'm not going to give it to Elliott. I'm going to give it to Godwin, Kelsey. I like Dak Prescott. And then Mark Ingram. That was just
you like Dak pick? In the 4th round there?
I do. I like Dak Prescott this year.
I did, yeah, in the 4th round, though, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think that's a round, if not too early.
Yeah. I mean, he might have been my backup there, but looking at Ingram, he's the guy. He was drafted way too early. I think Ingram's more of a round 6 or 7 kind of guy, not that early in the 5th round. Because it wraps around, right? It goes 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So it's like the 3rd pick into the 5th round. So
okay.
Not good. Not good at all. So next guy on the list, of course, yours truly. So let's see. I'm going to give it another chance here. I'm going to scroll through here. Let's see. Nobody, no. Nope, I got nothing. Complete fucking perfection.
Whoa.
Stud running backs, stud tight end, plethora of receivers, Hall of Fame QB on the best offense of his career.
Stud great running defense back in a walking boot?
Yes. Great defense and kicker too. You can't deny that. This is the year of the booyah. Loaded with unbelievable depth. Jalen Reagor is going to be the surprise player of the year. Of course, he tore his fucking labrum the night of the draft. But still, he'll be back in a couple weeks. Jonnu Smith in the last round will be a top tight end. I got him in the last round. He will be a top tight end by season's end.
All right, so let me just understand this. You drafted a guy in a walking boot, where how many? And I know the coach said they're just nicks and bruises.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever met somebody? Now you're a guy that has busted out his knees more than one occasion.
And has the only non-football player to ever have turf toe.
Yeah. So I want to understand, how many times have you seen anybody go into a walking boot from a nick or a bruise?
See, if you've done your research, Azar,
Okay.
you would have heard that he was out of his walking boot and he was jogging all around the field with no limp at all. The day of the draft. No limp at all, the day of the draft. And when the coach comes out and says it was just for precautionary reasons, it was just for nicks and bruises, that's good enough for me. And I think, and Kenyon Drake, by the way, was a guy I was targeting in my second round leading up to the draft. I said, I think he's going to slide, and I think he's the guy I would love to have. I would love to have Derrick Henry and Kenyon Drake. And then the whole walking boot story came out. And so I said, okay, well, maybe if he's there, I might let it slide this time, but I'm not going to let it slide past me in the third round. And he did. He's coming back to me in the third round, and I took him then. Steal.
Now, Meat, I'm just going to let you know, I'm going to be quoting from a Seinfeld episode. When the episode started, they loved the Drake. By the end of the episode, they hated the Drake. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I will send you the link to that episode. You will hate the Drake by the end of the season.
All right. I got it. Yeah, send that to me.
Okay.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Those who know Seinfeld know who the Drake is. And everybody hated the Drake by the end of the episode.
All right.
Okay.
I love that offense. I love the offense, and Drake tore it up last year when he got traded there. He was one of the top running backs from the time he got traded there onto the rest of the season. And now he's the main guy there. I ended up drafting Chase Edmonds, his backup, who they're saying, he's doing really well in camp, and I took him the third to last round. So, hey, if Kenyon Drake isn't ready to go, I still have Edmonds. So I'm in good shape there.
Okay. You know, I wish I had better technology, but I would love to just have a soundboard.
I'm really starting to dislike the Drake.
I don't know if you guys could hear it, but Seinfeld hates the Drake.
All right. I like it. Maybe we'll try to put a clip on that on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, you got to find it. I'll send you the YouTube link to it.
All right, good. All right, now let's move on to my favorite Jackass pick coming up here. This is your man here, Jarvis, right here, Jar Jar Binks. I'm gonna go with Jonathan Taylor, 4th round pick, number 36. He's a great, nice little draft pick there, Jarvis. In fucking 2022, should have just taken Fred Taylor instead of Jonathan Taylor there. Reports out of camp saying he can't catch fucking shit out of the backfield, making him one-dimensional while at the same time splitting time with Marlon Mack. And you got him in the 4th round.
Now,
okay?
Which is funny because Rivers is only dinking and dunking. So if the running back can't catch the ball, huge problem. Huge problem. We need Fred Taylor to come back. Where's Fred Taylor?
They're saying there's all hype about him in a dynasty league. Hey, I'd say, all right, that's a good move, Jarvis. You get to keep. He's your keeper for next year. No, he's a good player 1 or 2 years from now. Not right now. Take your stupid haircut, Aaron Rodgers loving face, and be gone. Why don't you just take Shady McCoy there? Your love for Shady McCoy. You'd have a better chance.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
But I must thank you for suggesting I lost my fastball. It's all I needed to try to redeem myself.
I wanted a running back there. And
so bad. So desperately.
I mean, the only other, like you said, the only other pick that I wouldn't have wanted OBJ, wouldn't want a Robinson, didn't want Dak, didn't want DJ Moore.
Could have got Mark Andrews.
I could have had Mark Andrews. And you know what? I was contemplating. I was like, he's still there. Ooh, I could do it, and it probably was the right choice, but I was bent on getting the best available running back at that spot. And, I mean, you just gave Bobby a Jackass pick for Ingram the round later. What would you have done if I took Ingram there? Oh, my God.
Then yes.
Right?
Then I think, too, what if Cooper Kroll didn't take Fournette the pick before that? Would you have taken Fournette there?
Yeah. He saved me from that one. I probably would have taken Fournette, which is fine because now we can move on to Cooper. But you know what, though? Can you give him another Jackass pick? Because when he drafted Fournette, he was on the team, and it was a reasonable pick
No. I had them written down the night of. I went home and I wrote out all my Jackass picks, and Fournette was on my list.
But I
Shit you not.
really want you to use Robert Woods. I just the shit fest on Robert Woods can't end. It can't
No,
end.
you can't. The stats don't bear it out. You guys are just wrong. I
Nope.
I just can't.
Jarvis. That's a good. But Robert Woods is very early where he took him there. But
No
Fournette,
way.
That's
No.
a Jackass pick. It's got to be Fournette. It's got to be Fournette.
I know. I don't want you to forget to mention Robert Woods.
He'll be mentioned. He'll be mentioned all year long.
1,100 yards is a stiff. You guys are just. You drafted Julio Jones. How many touchdowns does Julio Jones have? The elite guy you draft in the second round has 6 touchdowns.
Julio Jones has been a top 5 fantasy wide receiver for the last 5 years in a row.
And he's overrated.
He's still top 5. It doesn't matter. The points are points. Fantasy.
He had one season. So you got 6 touchdowns last season. That was between 2 games, I think, because he only has 2 breakout games.
He's always good for 1,300 to 1,600 yards every year. Every year.
Yeah, that's all he gives
I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take it for the end of the second round.
So you can take Woods in the 15th round, and he gives you almost 1,200 yards and 2 touchdowns, and potentially more, and he does gadget plays. So I would say, where's the value in Julio?
He does gadget plays. You can rely on his gadget plays now.
Robert Woods is blatantly ignored in the red zone by that team.
Yeah. I did read something like that where I think they threw to him only like 4 times when they got into the red zone. It's pathetically
because they had Gurley, they had Higbee. What the hell is that tight end name? Higbee? The fuck's that idiot's name?
Higbee.
Higbee,
Yes,
yeah. Higbee, and then they had that touchdown stealing bastard Cup. That's the problem. Woods is the man.
Yeah. And it's
By the
Jared
way,
Goff throwing.
Referring to the touchdown stealing bastard Cup, who you drafted the round before Woods.
Hey, what can I do? If the system is going to throw the ball to Cup, I have to take Cup. Like what am I going to do? I love Woods. I love me some Wood, but I had to go with the Cup. So, and and again, it was a theme. If I'm going to draft Amari Cooper, I'm drafting Cooper Cup back to back. That was just the theme I was going for this year.
I did point that out. That was pretty cute. Pretty cute draft.
Yeah, but it cost me Woods. I was a little disappointed in myself.
He's as known to making cute things happen. All right, moving on. Let's go to Cooper Kroll here. Not the pick Cooper Kroll. I'm talking about the drafter, Cooper Kroll. Of course, we all know who that guy is. We said Leonard Fournette, right? 4th round, pick number 35. I just have to say, so these are my exact words that I wrote down. I have it here. I wrote down the night before he got released, so the night of the draft. I said, a guy who has sucked for the last 2 seasons, who has been shopped around by the Jaguars all offseason. They declined his 5th-year option, and we're ready to move on from him, is suddenly going to have a great year. That's exactly what I wrote. And what did they do? They released him the very next day. This is this year's version of Isaiah Kroll. Fuck, his coach even hates him, and he drafted him this high. By the way, why did he draft like a sloth this year, by the way? It took him 5 flipping minutes to draft in the 1st round. It's like you open up his cheat sheet, and seconds before the pick had no flipping clue who was available. My God. But you know what? Hey, Steven.
Hey, he was so rattled from COVID that I think he's just the fear of COVID has crippled him. It's not having COVID; it's the fear of COVID and I think that's what it is.
He's afraid. He's afraid. But
Yeah,
hey, on the bright side,
and he's got Bobby across breathing.
Yes. Well, if anybody has COVID, I have COVID. But on the bright side, he will miss the playoffs and get lucky in the lottery again and draft the number 1 overall pick again next year, because that's worked so well for him in the past. Oh, no, actually it hasn't. Never mind. He fucking sucks, regardless of where he picks. His old girlfriend, Oliver, won a league, which I helped draft for her. Maybe we kick him out of the league and invite her into our league. Bring back Oliver. Bring Oliver into our league.
That's harsh.
Yeah, well, he deserves it for taking Fournette. And you know what? Freaking give him bonus points for freaking Robert Woods, too, in the next round.
No, that was the smart pick. I would have taken Woods over Fournette there, but that's just me.
All right. Moving on to the next one because I know Azar is just he's waiting for this one. He's waiting for this one. This next one. All right, here we go.
You can skip right over it. I don't see any mistakes.
No, I see one very big glaring one. Amari Cooper, third round, pick number 27. So at first,
okay.
Wait a minute. At first, okay. Now I know some people. I know like guys like Roper, right? He's gonna disagree with me when he hears this. He's gonna say, "Well, how the hell is it not Joe Mixon? Joe Mixon's second round. Like he had a big laugh over it." But
which is the most silliest laugh out of the whole time. That's the only time he laughed.
It caught me off guard so bad. His roar of a laugh, and I've never heard him laugh like that before. I could not contain myself. That was one of the funniest moments of the day, and he couldn't stop it. It was like this big belly laugh that was just caught me off guard, hysterical.
So here's Roper, right? What did he say after you drafted him? He goes, "Well, Azar, all the time that I've talked to you, you've shit on Mixon, you shit on Mixon, and you draft him in the second round." Is the same guy that told me, well, if you just listened to him saying that he didn't like Lamar Jackson, he wasn't going to draft Lamar Jackson. So I think you were playing both of us. You were playing me and you were playing Mr. Roper. But anyway, I said when you drafted Joe Mixon there, I said, oh, I know. I made a little check mark. I said, oh, this is going to be my Jackass pick. This is it. And then a round later, what the fuck? Mr. Flat Tire himself. You even called him a flat tire when you drafted him, and you still picked him up.
But the problem is that I was wrong about Flat Tire. Actually, Flat Tire had a productive year last year. Almost 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns. And if you like Dak Prescott, who does he throwing the ball to? He's throwing it to Flat Tire.
No. He got out-targeted on a per-game basis last year by Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup got more targets than Amari Cooper. And by the way, they drafted CeeDee Lamb, who they really love this year, who they drafted him pretty high, and he's going to steal away a bunch of targets. And, oh, by the way, also, they want to reestablish the run with Zeke Elliott. That's a recipe for disaster.
Galladay would have been the better pick there.
I would agree there, but I don't want to give Roper his due for getting Galladay there.
I was torn between Galladay and Cooper. I went for the better offense because who's going to have more opportunities? An offense that can move the ball and drive the ball, or an offense that's going to be stagnant, and you got to hope once in a while he gets these Hail Mary passes.
Nah, it's more about who's going to be playing from behind and chucking the ball early and often, and Detroit's going to be chucking the ball. I don't think Detroit's
defense is as bad as you think they are. It's their offense is terrible. They have no run game.
They throw a lot.
Yeah, Matt Stafford likes to chuck it. I agree. Galladay's a good pick. I just felt, my rule of thumb is go with the good team. Every time you go with it's like, and I know Mixon does not satisfy that theory, but a lot of times I just get burned when you go with an offense that's just so bad, and you just hope that player is going to emerge. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. It's always 3 and out. Your player doesn't get that many looks. Look at I wonder how many looks Galladay actually got, like opportunities. So I got to
call them targets. These are targets.
It's opportunities to me.
So
buddy.
I actually shit on Roper there because I was like, well, and I was drunk, and I said, I'm just gonna needle him a little bit because of the Galladay pick. But I actually like the Galladay pick there. I think a lot of mock drafts he was going pretty early, which was kind of surprising because I'm not a big Detroit Lions offense fan, but where he got him there, late third round, that's just about right. It's about right. I would say that's a decent.
So you're telling me he got 119 targets. Flat Tire got 119 targets, and you're saying he's not getting a lot of looks. Are you high?
119 targets isn't a lot of targets. It's
how many yards and touchdowns did he get on those 119?
1189 and 8 touchdowns.
Galladay on 116 had 1190 and 11 touchdowns.
Okay, so same yardage.
No, he missed games.
But you're also forgetting what I mentioned earlier. CeeDee Lamb is there. CeeDee Lamb is there too, and they're going to throw him the ball, and they want to give the ball to Elliott.
How many rookie quarterbacks emerge? And Elliott's got to stay healthy.
Elliott always is healthy.
Shut up.
Always healthy.
Hurt. He's going to get hurt. I'm telling you, he's going to get hurt.
Oh, unlike Cooper, Mr. Flat Tire himself, he's never going to get hurt.
I think there's going to be less pressure on Cooper because there's going to be better weapons around. So that means the defense can't just focus on Cooper. So flat tire is going to have some opportunities. You guys will wait and see.
Okay.
All right, I'll put an asterisk that was my nomination for Jackass. But
Yeah.
if you look at his ranking in most leagues, he's up there in the top. If he wasn't in top 5, he was easily in the top 6 or 7 in most things that I looked at. So who did I miss out on? I couldn't get Adams, Hill, Julio, Godwin. Those are your typical top 5 in every.
I would have liked Thielen
Evans
as well. I would have liked Thielen there.
I got burned with Thielen last year. No offense, I got burned by Thielen last year.
He's the sole wide receiver there that's going to get all the targets, and he's and who's they're already saying they want to pepper their number 1 receiver with targets.
Yeah, and then
Thielen would have been the guy.
And Thielen's going to get a hangnail or a turf toe and be out for the season like he did last year. So
yeah, as opposed to a flat tire.
Flat tire played the games, damn it. Played 16 games.
Yes. By
He
the way,
redeemed himself.
I do have a bone to pick with you too, Azar. On
Uh-oh.
a side note here, Russell Wilson in the 5th round.
What's wrong with Russell Wilson now?
You and me went back and forth a number of podcasts ago, and Jarvis, you agreed with Azar on this one too. Russell Wilson, you were saying he fizzled at the end of last year. We exchanged some texts, back and forth over him, and you go and take him in the 5th round as your starting quarterback.
Well, some wise wisdom was given to me during the draft that Seattle wants to throw the ball more.
They do want to throw the ball
Oh,
more. Exactly.
there you go.
No, I like Russell Wilson, but,
All right.
but you didn't like Russell Wilson. So
Russell Wilson is the Julio Jones of quarterbacks.
Oh, that's
no,
bold.
that's kind of a shitty analogy there.
Jarvis, go back to sleep.
Top five.
That's
Top
shitty.
5 at the end of the year. You're going to hear Russell
He
Wilson
is.
is going to finish with these crazy points, and the same bullshit we just gave you for Julio Jones is going to happen to Azar. He's going to look at his
Top 5.
fantasy team and be like, oh my God, he had a 6-point week. He had a 9-point
No.
week. And then all of a sudden he
I
has
think-
like a 65-point week
Nope.
and average tips. Same thing with Julio Jones.
He's already come out and said, and that Pete Carroll, he's not running the show there. It's Russell Wilson, whatever Russell Wilson wants to do there. He went to Coach Carroll and he said, hey, we got to stop with establishing this run thing. We don't have a very good offensive line. We're going to throw the ball more. We got 2 receivers in DK Metcalf now and Tyler Lockett that I could throw to. You're going to see Russell Wilson throw more pass attempts this year than ever before.
You have
I like
one
that
valid
pick.
argument to make, and you haven't made it yet. It proves your point, and I'm not going to give it to you. I'm going to tease it because if you're smart enough to figure it out on your own as to why Wilson will have a better year this year, then I'll give you credit. You can think about it for a bit, but there's one reason and one reason only.
Will Disley.
Nope, it has
And
nothing
Greg
to
Olsen.
do. It has nothing to do with on the field. There's one reason that I think he would turn it around and prove me wrong this year. Not going to say it yet, though.
Right, is he having sex? He's finally
his
having
hot
sex with
wife?
his wife?
Nope, that already happened. They have a kid.
Okay. He's having
Keep
an
going
affair.
with your picks. Keep going with your
All
picks.
right. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep us in suspense there. But anyway, Wilson, again, so I just want to make this clear too, is so it's either Azar was hiding this whole time and kind of keeping those close to his vest there, or he's basically just going to admit that he was wrong about Russell Wilson.
No, John, look at me.
Either one or the other, because you
look at
criticize me every time for not being honest, and I've been 100% honest and transparent. I said I was going to draft Derrick Henry. I drafted Derrick Henry. I went through my whole list of players a couple weeks ago when we last did this. I said all the players that I liked, I drafted all those guys. I was 100% honest. So for all the listeners out there that had their draft already, that believe in Azar and did not draft Russell Wilson, then there you go. Sorry, guys. I'm going to apologize for my co-host's fuck up there.
No.
Saying Russell Wilson sucks.
I got to say, if clearly you did not see the pattern of my drafting, I drafted almost everybody I shit on. Did you not see the pattern? I started with Mixon.
You did.
I started with Cooper. I started with Cup. Started with Wilson. David Johnson.
You shit on Mixon. You shit on Cooper. You shit on
everybody.
Cup, you shit on Wilson. David Johnson.
Yeah.
God. You're right.
Did you see the theme? There was a method to the madness. I was drafting a team. I hate all team. I hate every one of these players.
You didn't even get, and you said it with CEH too. I think you kind of mentioned with him too. That's right.
I drafted everybody that's going to give me heartburn. But if I hate them to start with, they can only impress me now. They can only prove me wrong.
I see.
'Cause
I see.
Do you understand? Look at this team.
Aim,
Like
aim
how,
low, and you won't get disappointed.
I
get
have set the bar so low and I am going to either suffer this season or be so wrong about this hatred. I am trying to win their love, okay? And I drafted all the people that I've hated. If Nicolas Cage was a quarterback, he would be the quarterback of my team right now. That's basically the equivalent of what I've done right now.
Okay.
So I know it seems bizarre, and it's like, Azar, what? None of this makes sense. It's everybody you hate. I know. I purposely drafted everybody I hate because I'm like, with this season and with the whole COVID thing, I'm like, I've got nothing to lose. Go with it. Everybody's hyping these players. Like I listen to these podcasts. I'm like, all right, I'm going to take it. If they're telling me these guys, Mixon's going to be an elite running back. Okay, Cooper, you got to draft him early. Cup, don't sleep on Cup. All right, I'll put him on my team. I want to see, are these people insane or am I just wrong? Prove me wrong, baby.
Azar was aiming high in this year's draft. So remember, guys, next year,
I am the OBJ
when you guys are listening
drafting.
to our when you're listening to our podcast next year, and Azar really hates a certain player, you know he really loves that player.
No love. I
Right.
hate.
It
I
really
hate
is
Mixon.
impressive you stayed consistent with the I hate my team theme.
It really is. Going down all the picks, I said, you know what? He's got a point.
He
I
hates
can't-
every
he
single
has
one of them.
mentioned every single one of these.
And not one of you guys noticed that. I am shocked that no one's noticed. I drafted everybody I hated.
Yeah,
Jeez.
maybe it might even work out for you this year because.
And
of that.
imagine how much it'll burn me if I actually win this whole thing with the team of players I hated. That would kill me.
That's a good point. That's a good
That would
point.
kill me.
All right,
So-
let's go. Keep going here because we got a few more good ones here coming up, and one of our favorites here, Mr. Roper. Good old Mr. Roper. He is next on our list. So Mr. Roper got James Conner in the 4th round, pick number 33. He's my nomination. So yeah, Mr. Roper. Yeah, he's gonna have a great year.
Wow. Whoa. Connor? You
Yes.
did not pick Jacobs, who's his number 1 pick? He's the only guy that drafted someone with so many question marks that were added right before the draft, where he could have taken a little bit more
Yes.
stability with Chubb or Michael Thomas.
Well,
Wow.
like your Mixon pick, Azar. That little check mark on there. I said, oh, I know it's going to be Jacobs. And then a couple rounds later there, I see James Conner. I said, wow, James Conner. He's going to be great this year for 4 fucking games. Guy cannot stay healthy. And even worse, when Big Ben goes down, and he is going to go down, he always does, James Conner is going to suck even more. No chance in hell either guy stays healthy for a full season. And I know he reached for him here because of his lack of confidence in his Josh Jacobs pick in the 1st round. So that's probably the reason why. So he's like, oh, gee, I need another running back because if I don't get one here, I'm going to be done. So if Jacobs doesn't pan out, right, and he might have the worst running back depth in the league. And also to
Wait,
confirm,
can we go back to the Raccoons team before you say that? Who has 1 viable running back on his roster?
But what if Mr. Roper loses Jacobs? Who else does he have? He's going to rely on James Conner. He's not going to last. James Conner is not going to play a full season.
He's
Like I
got
said,
Cam Akers and Zach Moss.
that's who he's going with.
Both
Cam
backups.
Akers.
Yeah, Cam Akers there's already talk that
I just read that he was going to be the starter, and he was
No.
going to split carries for the first half and then pull away in the second half.
Yeah, if he could pull away.
Here's the thing with the Raccoon, though. He's got CMC. CMC, if I know it's a big if, because nobody ever duplicates the type of season that CMC had last year.
Right.
The next
New
season,
coach, new quarterback, new offense. I don't know.
but if he gets close, right? The production that he had, what do you have? Like a total of 2,300 yards. You know, I mean, he's good enough to put up the same production as 2 good running backs sometimes. So that's why I would say if I were to pick one or the other, definitely Roper has the worst running back depth there in the league.
Yeah, I've heard Malcolm Brown is actually getting a lot of first looks too.
He has
So-
Malcolm Brown on his team too.
yeah, but I mean that's.
So,
But now he's got to pick which one's going to emerge each week to
right.
week. Because Malcolm Brown might be seagulling because he did it to Gurley. He was seagulling a lot of
the
his
goal line
touchdowns.
text. He is.
So-
And then you got Akers and Henderson splitting the yardage.
Yeah, so he's going to be having some.
But I think
heartburn with
Moss
that.
is going to get all of the red zone work, and he's a better runner than Singletary. So I think he's going to get most of the work from him. So I think Moss is actually he was my sleeper pick that I was trying to target, but my team just needed to go in a different direction later on in the rounds, and I didn't get to him. But Moss was one of my big sleepers I was looking for this year.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have gotten him because that's actually where I was going to take Moss, and I didn't. I thought he would just slide to me.
So I
round.
wanted him where I took Harry, but
Yeah.
I didn't have. I needed a wide receiver at that point. I only had 2, so I had to take Harry, who I think is going to have a decent year, because I didn't think he'd be there. But that's where I wanted Moss.
Yeah.
Are we still talking about Zach Moss?
I
No,
like him. I like him.
he's going to actually. I have friends from Buffalo that actually vouch for him too. From what they're reading, because they keep up with Buffalo news, like he's actually going to be the man in Buffalo at some point.
Interesting. All right.
But anyways, I still think I am shocked because when we were talking pre-draft, I really thought he was going to lean to Michael Thomas because he is known. Mr. Roper is known for being very careful and methodical.
I think the Jacobs pick was probably the biggest shock pick.
I'm surprised you didn't choose T.Y. Hilton where you got him in the 5th round as his pick.
You know, I'm not a T.Y. Hilton hater. I think
No, neither am I. I wanted him in the next round is what happened.
No, it's definitely James Conner there. He's not going to stay healthy. That's period. And even if he does, and like he did when last year or the year before, every year Ben Roethlisberger gets hurt, but Ben Roethlisberger, he's going to get hurt again. He's going to get hurt, and they put some stiff in there, and then James Conner's value goes down after that. He is still yet to run for 1,000 yards in his career, James Conner. I know he's only been 3 or 4 years, but still. And by the way, you could tell when Roper gets very nervous when he drafts a pick. Do you ever notice that when he picks and somebody like makes fun of him or he gets very sensitive, very defensive? Like, what do you mean you didn't like that pick? What do you mean? I think he's good. He's like crying a little bit, like, but he's one of my best players according to my red binder. What a bitch.
White binder now. Red one's missing.
And by the way, we had a little discussion afterwards, and I actually have to go and fact check with him. R3 is going to be very pleased with this. Galladay, who did play all 16 games last year, I looked it up.
This is going to be about Marvin Jones. I can't listen to it.
It is Marvin Jones because we had this long argument over it, and I said, Galladay's a good player, but they still have Marvin Jones there who they like to throw to as well. And he shit all over me. And I said, look, I got Marvin Jones in the 13th round. And I said, his production was not that far off on a per-game basis than Galladay. And he went on to shit on me. And I said, look, I'll look it up. Galladay played 16 games, averaging 11.4 points per game. Marvin Jones, who I took 10 rounds later, averaged 10.2 points a game. A whole 1.2 points per game.
But mind you, this whole argument, you're coughing cookie crumbs all over everybody's face while you're making your
pie
point.
crumbs.
You're coughing
well, that is another discussion for another day. We're talking about Galladay and Marvin Jones. The fact is that he was close to Galladay's production, and like I said during the draft, it just proves that I'm right and everybody else is wrong. That's it. So next year, I suggest that Mr. Roper, maybe Mrs. Roper can draft his team for him. How's that? Or how about the real Mr. Roper? Is he dead? He's dead, isn't he?
There's only one Mr.
Better
Roper
than this
in my life.
garbage of a draft. Anyway.
Well, I got to say, it's funny. You're making the same argument for Jones and Galladay as you were making for Gallup and Cooper. So you basically like this one-trick pony for everybody that you don't like, huh? Just the same debate, basically. But that's okay. We'll
what did I say about Gallup?
Basically the same thing. Like, oh, they target him more. He's this guy. Yeah. You're basically making the same argument. So
no, Asa, you forgot to one point is he only said they targeted Gallup more. He never actually said that he's equal in production because he never can catch the ball. That's the difference.
Oh, Cooper is a much better receiver, and Galladay is a much better receiver than Marvin Jones. My point is that you draft one guy in the 3rd, and then the second receiver on that team gets drafted in the 13th round. You're only talking about a point per game difference based on last year, and that was what the argument was. And I said, look, it's pretty close. And it was like, no. He's like, it's impossible. There's no way. Galladay had a huge year. I said, so did Marvin Jones. He missed 3 games though. So and that was the whole argument. So that's why I had to throw that out there. So now that I've shit on Roper's couple Roper's players there, now he's gonna go back to cry in his pillow. Instead of texting everybody like, oh, what do you mean? I thought he was good.
The binder told me.
Let's move on to the next guy. Let's go on to the newbie in the league. The guy who's gonna crap his pants because he's playing with the big boys now. You know who he is. I know who he is. Everybody knows who he is.
Your favorite protester.
Antifa Boy. He took Juju Smith-Schuster in round Schuster, whatever the fuck his name is. Round 3, pick number 29. Let's see. So he's a guy with a banged up QB throwing to him. Team already came out and said it's unlikely they're going to be re-signing him in the offseason and want him to play more in the slot this year. This one has Jackass written all over it. Antifa Boy decided to join the big boy league, and this is his big entrance, drafting fucking Juju in the 3rd. This is a pathetic display of drafting. I could see why Mac fired him and hired Porkchop. So, I'm sorry, Raccoon fired him and hired Porkchop. I can't keep up with all these stupid nicknames.
But can I say something? Somehow, he still ended up with Thielen in the next round, right? So you would have thought he would have taken Thielen at that point, right?
Yes.
Right? So who's the bigger jackass? The guy who drafted for the mute boy, who allowed Thielen to slide back?
You got to wait because that team needs a segment of jackassery unto itself.
Oh, that one is.
Please don't go there yet.
No, let's be patient because we got one more after this. We got one more.
I agree with Juju, but I think if he took Thielen there, he would have probably ended up with Juju anyway. So would you have been happier if you took him in the 4th round? I mean, they both passed. Passed on Cup. I don't know why he passed.
Juju's a 5th round guy, and he got him there in the 3rd.
Yeah, I mean, he passed on Cup, Thielen, for Juju, which I don't understand. Like he could have
didn't make any sense.
Yeah, you can imagine how stacked his team was if he took Cup and Thielen as his back-to-back receivers. He would have had 2 solid.
To have
3, he had Hopkins,
Cup, and Thielen.
Yeah, so he would have been stacked there. So that was a big F up on his part. So big rookie mistake.
Yeah, rookie mistake, of course. Yeah, he's playing with the big boys now.
Yeah.
Playing with the big boys, but when I showed up to the draft and I saw Porkchop there, I said, maybe Porkchop's joining our league, and Antifa Boy decided to bail out. And I said, oh, that's pretty good. It's not a big improvement over Antifa Boy, but some. It's like comparing watching The Witcher versus any hillbilly show that Jarvis is watching these days. Like they both suck. And then I realized Porkchop was drafting for the Raccoon. So I said, oh, all right. Well, I guess they're both in there. So they kind of get screwed. It's like going to the Glass Slipper and then going to the Old Blue Moon. It's like slight improvement in the talent, but still a shit show nonetheless. So little message for Antifa Boy. He may be a guru with Brooks, but he's a dumbass in fantasy.
Did you write that line?
I did. I made a note. So
wow.
There you have it.
That's a candidate runner. I would say he's the lead candidate so far.
Juju's bad.
Juju right there because of who we passed on and in the 3rd round. Ooh, that's a tough one. Okay, go ahead.
But there's the ultimate jackass coming up. So we're going to see, let's say, mute boy / R3. Hell, it might as well have been one of Azar's chickens drafted for him. He would have been freaking doing better. Melvin Gordon.
I could have had the chicken pecking at the keyboard. Just put some, and it would have picked more coherently.
Yeah, we could have done little pictures of players out, and whoever the chicken walked up to first, that's the guy he picks. My goodness. So you could say anywhere between Gurley and Gordon in the 3rd and 4th round there, all back to back. I'm going to go more for Melvin Gordon because he's the first pick in that 4th round, right? So
he actually took him at the end of the 3rd. So you got to get it right. He was his 3rd round pick.
Yeah. What I said, the first pick in the 4th round. The first pick in the 4th
was
round.
Gurley.
No, Gordon. I thought it was Gurley and then Gordon.
Other way around. He took Gordon, then Gurley.
Oh, I wrote down Gurley and then all right, whatever. That's how I wrote it. But either way, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't matter. So he ended up drafting for Mute Boy because Mute Boy couldn't make it to the draft, or maybe he was there. We just didn't hear him. He was freaking mute. So he left him with no good QB and no tight end at all. Didn't fucking draft a tight end at all.
Didn't draft a tight end. Had Andrews on the board there. Had Ertz on the board there. Didn't draft a tight end. Not only that, but so if you say Gordon or Gurley are the Jackass picks, flip the picks above and below them, and it's more running backs. It's Aaron Jones and Raheem Mostert. He lucked out and walked into A.J. Brown, who was probably the steal of the draft at that low.
And he's got hurt. He's already hurt.
Oh, is he hurt?
He was hurt before the draft, so he was hurt like a couple of days before.
He was going
That's why he slid.
He was going as high as second, third round.
Yeah, I liked A.J. Brown. But when he got his injury, I said.
But the fact that he took Aaron Jones,
and it's undisclosed too. Like nobody really knows how injured he was.
But the fact that he took Aaron Jones and then Gordon and Gurley and then Mostert and completely neglected tight end or quarterback at any of that, I don't even think he realized he was doing it.
And to make matters worse, so drafting Melvin Gordon, he's going to be splitting carries with Lindsey. And Lindsey, right? So I don't know where Lindsey went here, but they've already come out. I actually read something.
Antifa Boy took him in round 7.
Yes. So I read something today where Melvin Gordon has been struggling a little bit in camp. I sounded a little bit like Joe Namath there, the drunken Joe Namath, struggling. So he was struggling in camp, and they're saying Lindsey is actually doing everything well. He showed up to camp. He's blocking well. He's catching every pass. He hasn't had one drop in practice. When the offseason first started, when they got Melvin Gordon, the Broncos were talking him up. They were saying Gordon's going to have a great year. He's going to be their workhorse. And now everything that you're hearing out of camp is going to be more of a 50-50 split. So he ended up taking Melvin Gordon, who hasn't really had a good year in like 2 years. And now he's going to split carries with Lindsey on a worse offense than what Gordon has been in part of before.
Yeah.
That's terrible. That's a terrible pick.
And I don't even know why, like, I don't understand his logic. Like, he could have gotten, like, you have Michael Thomas as your first pick. Why not stack it with another great receiver there? Like, you could have gotten anybody. Like, Thielen, Kupp, like, I don't.
No, not there. If you're going to stack it, you would have had Hopkins, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, Julio Jones, Chris Godwin, Mike. I mean, at that point, those are your second-round wide receivers. Thielen.
No, I said when he took Aaron Jones because he wanted to he felt like a solid running back.
Talking about so he could have had. Yeah, you're right. So so instead of Gordon, he still could have taken Thielen, Kupp. He could have taken Andrews.
Yeah.
Why not Robinson because you used that as a Jackass pick.
Yeah, why not take Kupp? I guess if you wanted. Like, he ended up with Mostert anyways, but I would have maybe taken Andrews and maybe Kupp or Thielen right there. Or if you wanted to roll the dice, why not Connor, who has more at least hype around him than Gurley or Gordon? But I don't know.
He would have Mute Boy would have been better off just auto drafting, like his original plan.
Yeah.
You know, oh hell, like I said, one of Azar's fucking chickens. Let's face it, Mute Boy.
Could have pecked at the board better.
Yeah.
Let's call it for what it is, right? Royal quit on Mute Boy, right? It's not surprising given his history.
Yeah. R3 quit. R3 quit. Yes.
Goodness, it's officially a 9-man league this season.
And then
Boy.
After he took 4 running backs, he then went panic mode and took 3 wide receivers, 2 of them being A.J. Green and Keenan Allen and A.J. Brown. So he wanted to make sure he got the A.J.s. Or O'Neal must have said, hey, give me A.J. And he goes, I'll just take them both because I don't know which one he meant. It was like the draft of doubles. So he comes back and he takes the 2 running backs, takes two wide receivers, actually 3 wide receivers. Then he comes back and drafts
2 defenses. Yep. No quarterback. Quarterback.
You know what was great too is it round 9 when I took Cam Newton. I kind of just happened to look, kind of like right when I said his name, I kind of looked up, and the look on R3's face, it was like he just got he started crying a little bit like Mr. Roper after he makes a shitty pick, and it's like, oh shit, like Cam Newton, I can't believe he looked over. I think he turned to you, Jarvis, at some point. It was kind of complaining like, I can't believe Big Meat took another quarterback. Like, he
So
was
the
guy I wanted.
context to that was he had just taken Keenan Allen and AJ Green, and so on the way back he figured that everybody had picked a quarterback already, so he was just going to wait, and instead of taking the two defenses, he was going to take. He told me he was going to take Drew Brees. He thought he was coming back,
Mhm.
and then he went, "Oh, I should have taken him
You
instead
took
of
Drew
AJ Green."
Brees. Yeah.
I took Drew Brees, and then Combine took Mr. Combine took Matt Ryan,
Yeah.
and then you came back around and took Newton, and because he was like, and then Josh Allen went. He goes, and Stafford. All the backups went there, and he looked at that point. He looked over and went, "Well, I legitimately have no interest in finishing this draft. I am not getting a quarterback." Like at that point, he just right over the edge.
Mhm.
And I think he thought secretly that like Newton would come back because nobody was thinking about it. And so you just took the cake that was already baking over there of misery and iced it.
See, now I know he listens to this podcast, and I did say we had a podcast a few ago, Ajar, if you remember, where we were thinking somebody's gonna take Cam Newton because he's the hometown boy, and you were like, well, round 5, and I was like, there's no way. I think I even said on that podcast, I said he is going to be a guy that ends up being taken in the 8th or 9th round, and he's going to be one of, if not the first backup quarterback taken. And he was. He wasn't the first backup quarterback taken, but I think he was maybe the second.
That's kind of, look at. I get what you're saying.
So I said exactly what I was going to do with Cam Newton.
Yeah. So basically, here's my theory of what's going to happen, and I'm going to make sure that theory comes true because I'm going to make it happen. That's basically cheating. So it's like if I said, who's going to go third in the 3rd round? I'm going to take Kelsey, and I draft Kelsey. Well, no shit. If I take him, I made it happen. That's not how it works. It has to be made by an outside variable, outside person, not you, you monkey.
No, I said if I was looking at Cam Newton there, and I said if he was there in the 8th or 9th round,
you are no nose for
backup.
Me. No, you're no nose for me.
I am nose. I'm Nostra Booyah. That's who I am.
I am going to predict
Booyah.
he will go in the 9th round. Oh,
hey,
look at that. Someone drafted him. It was you.
Whether it was me or anybody else, R3 should have known that, and he didn't. Shame on him.
Oh, Nostra meat. That's just
Nostra
fraud.
Booyah.
Yeah, no, Nostra Booyah. Just a fraud.
hey, at least I drafted the people I said I was going to draft, Mr. Russell Wilson and Joe Mixon and Flat Tire himself.
Man, I hate my team so much. I hate these guys. Oh, man. You know what? If NFL starts going like totally political and kneeling and it just goes totally like bonkers and people sitting out games or whatever crap, I'll be okay with it. I'm like, I don't want to watch them anymore.
I've never rooted for a resurgence in COVID so hard in my life. Let's just burn the whole league down this year and start over next year.
Oh man, I love it.
Can I say one more thing about R3? So we've invited him on this podcast before. Am I wrong on that? We've invited him. We've said, hey, we want another person come in. Hey, how about R3? It'd be good. It'd be lively. He'd come in here. He'd kind of complain and do whatever he does. And then comes up with a lame-ass excuse saying that we never invited him. And he said he'll come on.
He said he didn't want to be. He said he likes listening and critiquing. He doesn't like to contribute. He doesn't want to contribute.
No, I said right before the draft started, he was talking about the podcast. And I said, well, why don't you come on? He goes, well, you guys never invited me. And I said, that's not true. I said, we've invited you. So maybe the next time. Maybe the next one, if he's listening, maybe he'll be on the next podcast. So there it is, the 10 Jackass nominations of the year.
I got to say, he was very proud that he was drinking a whole bottle of whiskey.
Who's this, me?
No, well, you already accomplished that goal. But he was trying to accomplish the same goal because he was drinking his fall drink, his Jack Daniel's apple with. So basically, the best thing is, who's the bigger jackass? Mute, Lurch, or the guy who he basically said, I can't be here. So Lurch goes and reaches out to the guy that quit the league and doesn't really give a fuck anyways, and brings a bottle of whiskey.
Clearly.
So if
then quit on the draft mid-draft.
Clearly, because he didn't take a tight end or a quarterback.
Well, the shame on us, what we should have done, we should have asked Lurch, before you open Yahoo app and look at your team, could you please FaceTime it? We want to see the look on your face as you look at the team. I want a review from Lurch. What did he see what went through his mind when he went through opened that thing up?
Can we also talk that he reached round 13 for a kicker? and then took a quarterback? He took his kicker. He took his
Good point.
kicker before he took a quarterback.
Well, because at that point he's decided I'm not taking a
No,
quarterback.
he quit. He quit halfway through it. That's just there's no other way of explaining it.
And the best part is Wentz is already hurt. So Lurch has no quarterback, no tight end. He doesn't. Who's he gonna drop at this point?
Jerry Jeudy or Henry Ruggs, the additional wide receivers that he took in the last 2 rounds.
So he's already got. What a train wreck. Now,
Train wreck.
if Lurch wins this, by all means, man, he's got the biggest horseshoe up his ass. That's all I got.
I would gladly step aside the horseshoe throne, and any semblance of horseshoe I've ever had would be nothing compared to the horseshoe up this kid's ass if that team pulls off a run.
The only thing better that would have made that team. The only thing that would have made it better is if he had Boston Scott on that team. That's all we would have needed. If Boston Scott was on that team, that would have been.
Yeah. He should
Boston
have just taken Boston Scott just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
But we should say, Jarvis, I'm very proud of you. You did not
Thank you.
succumb to the pressure of taking Aaron Rodgers in the second round again.
Nope.
Yet you still ended up with Aaron Rodgers
Yep.
taking him in the 6th round.
Properly in the 6th round.
Yes. Well, you took him. So I took Brady right after you took Rodgers, and it got to the point where I said, I have a group of quarterbacks that I like, and I would have liked to have Aaron Rodgers. I didn't like Deshaun Watson. He was the guy that was taken before Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
And when it came around, I said, okay, I really like Russell Wilson. I was surprised to see Azar take him that early in the 5th round. So I said, all right, he's not coming to me. Kyler Murray gets taken. I like Kyler Murray. So then it just gets to the point, well, who else is left? Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. As soon as you took Aaron Rodgers, I said, that's it. I'm taking Tom Brady. Phil still did not have a quarterback at that point. And I asked him later, he's full of shit. I asked him afterwards, I said, would you have taken Brady there? He said, nope. I said, you're full of shit, because he ended up taking Matt Ryan like a round or 2 later after that.
2 rounds later.
Well, if it goes around, because he had the pick and then the pick around and then
No. It went back. He took Sutton, and then it came forward. He took Waller, and then it came back again. So you had taken Brady, and then Terry McLaurin, and then Tyler Boyd, and then he took Matt Ryan.
If I see, yeah. Well, that's why. Well, no, because I took Brady there in the 6th, and I didn't want to wait to the 7th round because I thought he would have taken him.
He didn't take Ryan to the 8th, so in that same thing.
That's true. He could have taken Ryan right there anyway. But maybe
the same thing you're saying. So as soon as I knew Jackson and Mahomes were going to go, once Wilson went, I said it's a matter of time before Watson goes, and once Watson goes is when I'm taking Rodgers. So that's what I was watching for. I was watching Watson fall, and the second Watson was pulled, I was jumping on Rodgers. That was my trigger the whole draft.
Yeah. Because I've made this mistake before. I've waited for quarterback. I said, oh, there's so many quarterbacks, I'm going to wait. And this is what R3 did. He made the same mistake that I've made before. He's waiting. Then all of a sudden, everybody takes backup quarterbacks, and you're screwed. You're sitting there with Carson Wentz. That's who you end up with. So for me, I said, you know what? It's probably a round too early, but I don't care. It's Tom Brady. I'd love to have him on my team. I want to root for him. I want him to do well. He's got a great offense around him. And if all the great quarterbacks are gone and Phil was sitting there coming up was still without a quarterback,
mm-hmm.
I could have seen Phil taken. Yeah, he could have taken Brady. Then where would that have left me? Who was I taking then? Who were the next quarterbacks available?
Why didn't you take Drew Brees?
I don't like Drew Brees. I don't like him this year. I think they're a run-first team. I'm not a big Drew Brees fan. He had a good year last year, I know, but he was talking about retiring, and now he's like playing one more season. I don't know. There's just something about Drew Brees.
But
I'm not a fan.
Now he's woke. Now he's woke. He has seen the light. He now hates America.
Have you ever seen any player get pressured so much to the point where now he's like afraid to like speak his mind and how he feels, and he's like completely changed his tune.
Yeah.
Like, God, it's like, man, I lost a little bit of respect for Drew Brees there.
Yeah.
I was always a fan of him.
I was too. I thought like he does a lot of great things. I thought he would stand on his own. Like he's basically got shamed for loving the country.
That's what it is. Yeah, he got shamed. He got shamed to the point where now it's like he can't even be himself anymore.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah. Well, when someone like Shannon Sharp, the bastion of wisdom, says he should be kicked out of the league for speaking his mind. Like that's so tolerant of you, Shannon. Thank you. Worst broadcast announcer in football is Shannon Sharp. He brings nothing to the table. He's just
he calls games now?
No, he's
he's got the morning show with Skip Bayless.
Yeah, but he also contributes.
He's a media guy. He's a media personality.
Yeah, but I thought he does.
Does he still sit at the desk on the morning kick on the Fox kickoff show?
I don't think so.
Is that Fox? I thought it was CBS he was on. Wasn't he with Bill Cowher?
I don't think he is anymore. I think ever since he started that show, and I don't think he does it. But I think those guys, like now I think Shannon Sharp truly believes what he says. There's some people out there that just like they shit on Brady, they shit on Belichick, they shit on the Patriots just because they want to get the people to tune in and get a rise out of people. Like Skip Bayless, there's a lot of them out there that are like that. I think when Shannon Sharp says it, I truly believe he's that dumb that he believes it. Like he believes dumb? What he's saying.
Yeah.
He's another one. One. I think he says what he truly believes too.
I think he just likes to hear himself talk too much. That's the problem. Shannon Sharp, just awful.
Yeah.
Awful. All right, McMee. Well, I got to say, well done. There was a lot of jackass picks to navigate through.
So wait, who's the ultimate jackass pick?
So I thought of that, and it's hard to pick one this year. I think there's so many. There's so many that I don't know which one. I was hoping you guys could help me out with that.
I have to say, I would say I thought it was going to be Juju.
Because we all know last year was Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but
right,
Aaron Rodgers was a lock. Well, that was second round. So if you go to the next level, a true jackass pick has to have that criteria of where do you draft him, right? If it was drafted early in the draft, that stands out more to me. Like if you're calling someone out on a fifth round pick, it's like, I don't know. I got to say Juju and Gordon are my two runner-ups for the jackass pick. The way the draft went down for Lurch due to R3's drafting, I think the jackass pick of the year has to go to Melvin Gordon in the third round. Just because how the rest of the draft went.
What's crazy is like I liked Gordon going into the draft. I thought he was going to be my pick where I got Taylor in the fourth round just to be my third running back. I really did think I almost had him penciled in. I was like, I'll take Gordon, and if he booms, then I get a number 3 going up to a number 1, whatever. But yeah, I mean, his draft was so bad that even though I like the player, a half a round early, in context of what he did to destroy the rest of that team, like I wanted the jackass pick to be OBJ. But I don't think I can argue against how bad that team was sorted out.
They're all very bad. But if I was going to say one guy here, and
Juju, I don't know. Juju's talented though. I know he was injured, but Juju's still talented. I don't know.
I just his nomination for Jackass wasn't because it was his talent. Lack of
even
talent.
in the third round,
where he was picked.
Yeah, it's where he was picked and who he passed on.
Yeah.
Who he passed on, and I think Gordon, what R3 passed on for Gordon
is egregious.
And what the result of the draft, like all the damage that pick caused right after that, it was just a shit show. It's just a shit show. So
you don't think Leonard Fournette? Now this is nothing to do with him being released. He's a guy that they were already talking. They were talking all off season. They didn't like the guy. They didn't want him.
No.
They shopped him around all off season. They wanted to get rid of him. They didn't pick up his 5th-year off option. They're clearly not going to give the ball to him and have him have a great year. So I'm not surprised that they released him. I'm not surprised. Like when they released him, I said, I kind of saw something like that happen.
Is he a jackass pick if he comes back and the Patriots pick him up and run him into the ground to save Damian Harris another year?
No,
you know what I mean?
No, it's not because now he's on a better offense. If they establish the run with Fournette, that's a different situation. It's not based on whether the player is good or not. It's just the situation that he's in. If
Yeah,
he's not liked and he gets picked as the number 35 overall pick, you look at all the other players that he could have been taken ahead of him, and it just makes it worse now that he did get released.
Yeah.
So I would say that's my guy, Fournette.
Yeah.
Oof. Well, it's a strong case.
It is a
I-
strong case.
Yeah, because I was thinking, well, maybe he was desperate for a running back, but he had Carson, so he
And
could
Kamara,
have
yeah.
taken Andrews right there. And
This is go ahead.
no,
Andrew.
he could have taken Andrews. That was taken 2 picks later. He could have grabbed a great quarterback at that point if he really wanted to stack up his team.
Although he did get Watson 2 rounds later.
He did. Yeah. So
He could have taken DJ Moore. He could have taken Allen Robinson was the Jackass pick.
You know where I put Fournette in the same category as Le'Veon Bell. I put Fournette and Le'Veon Bell in the same category.
In David Johnson.
Hated by the coach. They don't want him. They want to try to get rid of him. Has not performed well in camp. Now Le'Veon Bell went in the 6th round.
Yeah.
Fournette went in the 4th.
So did David Johnson.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Meat, I think you just sealed the case. I think that's right. If you're going to, based on where he fits, yeah, he's 2 rounds way too early.
When I think of those two, I kind of think it's like 1A, 1B. They're both in the same category.
Yeah. But I think for the value though, Gordon could still deliver 3rd round value at this point. Fournette was going to deliver 6th round value. He's going to get you 6 to 8 points a week. Whereas Gordon, I think at the time I was even high on him. I had seen projections as high as 13 touchdowns, not 1,200 yards, but like 800 yards, 10 to 13 touchdowns because he's going to get a lot of red zone looks. Offense isn't really prolific, but they have a lot of speed on the outside. So Fournette is a worse pick there than Gordon is there, but Gordon should have been taken where Fournette went. Fournette should have been taken 2 rounds later, so the gap is worse for Fournette than Gordon.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh man.
And I hate OBJ.
What a terrible season he had too. Oh.
These Jackass nominations were every year. Somebody has one.
Yeah. Big Meat, you sold me. A good sales pitch. I'm actually looking at Fournette's 2019 numbers. I don't even know why you even would want him. Like I would say, like what motivated you to pick him other than name recognition? Like, oh, I know that name. Check. Like that.
Well, look at who drafted him. Cooper Crowell.
Yeah. So I would say that
he's earned that nickname.
So that
we don't call him that for nothing.
That enhances the Jackass nomination for me because you didn't draft him based on research or knowledge of the player. You drafted him on name recognition, and that makes you a jackass.
Can we go back to the Cooper Crowell might be the Jackass pick of the century. I don't think the fact that he gets Jackass of the year.
That's Hall of Fame.
I think we need to go back and revisit why he's Cooper Crowell. He took Cooper when he was a Raider with the 2nd round, so the 20th overall pick.
Yeah.
And the 21st overall pick, he took Isaiah fucking Crowell.
Just to compare apples to apples. God. This year, the 20th and 21st pick of the draft, Lamar Jackson and George Kittle. And he took Cooper and Crowell at that spot.
Well, the worst part, I think, is he passed on Gronk. Like there was some picks that he made some major passes for that elite combination that he did.
Well, I still remember. I think Roper actually said it best when he called out those picks. I think everybody's head just kind of lifted up, just kind of looked at each other.
God, it was so
like,
bad.
Okay. We just kept going. I was waiting for him to say, "Nah, just kidding. I'm taking Brady and Gronk." Like, and it just didn't happen. He was like, he was serious with Cooper and Crowell.
He actually used the stickers.
All right, all right, guys. I guess we have it. The 2020 Jackass Pick of the Year, Leonard Fournette, in the 4th round.
And to think it has nothing to do with him being released either. That's just the cherry on top.
And by our man, Cooper Crowell. So
okay.
That's it.
So if you want some context, I actually have the draft results from that draft pulled up. And what he passed on was, are you ready for this? Rob Gronkowski, Ezekiel Elliott. Tom- I don't even want to keep talking. Tom Brady, Marshawn Lynch, Drew Brees, Dalvin Cook, Devontae Adams. Azar, you took Leonard Fournette.
That's why I would never take him again. I had him
Azar,
one year.
you also took Terrell Pryor.
Oh, that guy still gives Azar nightmares.
Yeah.
He still can't get a good night's sleep from that Terrell Pryor pick.
C.J. Anderson.
That was the Jackass pick. I think I got nominated for that year.
Joe Mixon. There he is. Lamar Miller. DeAndre Hopkins all the way down in the 4th round. Christian McCaffrey in the... Oh, my God. Oh,
Yeah,
And then
that was 4 years ago.
Yeah,
2017.
yeah, those players were 3 years ago. But all right, we got to wrap it up. We're running a little long on this segment. So are we all in agreement
Yes.
that the 2020 Jackass pick is going to our man Cooper Crowell? We got to actually start keeping track who we actually wins it, because Cooper Crowell actually might get the record of having the most consistent Jackass picks out of the group. So that is a bold thing to that's a significant thing to accomplish.
Consistent.
He's consistent. He's consistently a jackass. And R3, you have single-handedly destroyed Lurch's season. So thank you for taking him out of contention. We appreciate all your help. So I am looking forward to only worrying about 8 teams all season. That's great.
Yeah. It's an 8-person league. Be the top 6 to make the playoffs, and it's anybody's game.
All right. Well, gentlemen, it was fun. Thank you, Big Meat. Thank you for bringing in your
fantastic.
fastball. A lot of laughs, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of anger once this podcast goes public, because
Oh, yeah.
you're gonna really have a lot of hate messages from this. But
It's what I do best.
it is what you do best. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap it up right there, folks. As usual, if you want to download, and I can't believe I still got a text, how do you listen to our podcast? After all the times we say it, go to Apple Podcasts, download it that way. If you don't have an Apple phone, shame on you. But if you don't, you can go to SoundCloud, download the app, and my God, once in 20 years, please.
I already bought the shirt early.
Oh, God. That's the way to jinx yourself.
I
And
bought it 4 months early.
Oh,
all
my
right.
God.
All right. I'm just going to vomit in my mouth right now. All right, folks. Until next time, we'll see you then.
See you later.